The Entrepreneur MBA podcast purpose is to help existing business owners grow their companies past the 10 million in revenue per year benchmark. Here is your host, Stephen Halasnik.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Stephen Halasnik, and I'm co-founder of Financing Solutions. Financing Solutions provides easy-to-set-up lines of credit for small businesses, and I will be your host for today's Entrepreneur MBA podcast. If you are interested in learning more about a business line of credit, please visit us at fscreditline.com. That's FS as in Financing Solutions, creditline.com. Over the last 25 years, I've built 6 companies in the $5 million to $25 million range, including 2 companies on the Inc. 500 fastest growing lists in the United States. I love learning from people with business experience, and today I'm excited to be speaking with Beth Shaw from YogaFit. Beth Shaw is the author of 4 best-selling books on wellness. She is the founder of YogaFit Training Systems and a pioneer in the wellness, yoga, and fitness space in North America. She is also the host of Make America Healthy radio show. Beth is also a Harvard alumni and a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. Beth, welcome to today's Entrepreneur MBA podcast.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much for having me.
So I think this is probably my 200th episode of this podcast. And if you listen to enough of anybody's podcasts, you get a feeling for what they believe in. And I am a big, huge proponent of exercising, diet, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, to focus on those things. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, it is a long road. It's really hard. And I just feel it's a strategic advantage to keep yourself fit. And I would imagine, Beth, you feel the same way.
Very much so, Stephen. I travel in a lot of business circles. I'm a member of EO and a graduate of Goldman Sachs. I go to their conferences. I've been around a lot of people, a lot of business owners from Harvard. And, I have to say that in many arenas, health is not focused on in I believe, the way that it should be. And just as you stated, as an entrepreneur, you are like an athlete. You are always running some marathon, trying to grow your business back, perhaps trying to start a business, preventing your business from declining. So I believe as entrepreneurs, we should really be running our bodies like a machine or like a business. And, if we're running a business, we want a healthy balance statement. And the same thing goes for our bodies. We want to make sure that we are in optimal health to withstand the challenges that life and running a business brings us. And not just physically, but also, even more importantly, mentally. Right now, I know, and I'm guilty of this myself, a lot of entrepreneurs are suffering from uncertainty, economic changes from the whole COVID pandemic, changing business climates. So it's important to really focus also on the mental aspects and the emotional aspects of things, because we can't let ourselves get derailed. And if you don't have a healthy body to support your mind, you're not going to show up to be your best self. You're not going to be as focused, as clear, or as determined as you need to be. I believe we need physical stamina as well as mental stamina.
Yeah. So let's be clear, because the people listening today, we have about 10,000 listeners, right? The people listening today, they could be 23 years old and they have their new business. They just started a business, right? You could have someone at 30, 40 years old who just started their own business, right? So, but when you're inexperienced at business, we could all, you might think, oh, well, it's been rough because of COVID. Oh, it's been rough because the inflation. It's been rough because of supply problems. Well, let me tell you, over 30 years, I've dealt with the 2001 recession, the 2008 recession, miscarriages of a baby, the death of my wife. I can go down the line over and over and over again. And I would just tell everybody that what has allowed me to handle this, all those situations plus, has been that I tend to take really good care of myself. And so I do believe that as important as the execution of your business is, it's just as important that you take really good care of yourself. And it's one of the reasons why I asked, I wanted Beth to come on the show, is to talk a little bit about, I'm probably not the best person for Beth to be talking to because I really believe in what she says. But Beth, I mean, tell me a little bit about some stories that you know of people who were entrepreneurs or business executives who really had a come to, let's say, Jesus moment about exercise, and what did it do for them?
Well, I think back to my days as a member of WPO, Women's Presidents Organization, when I was living in Los Angeles. And there was a woman there, and she was pretty overweight, I would say obese, ran a very successful business, and then got a breast cancer diagnosis. And really then decided that it was time for her to focus on her health, not just her business. She started exercising, eating differently, clean eating, fasting 1 day a week. And she was really able to turn it around, survive her cancer. I believe she lost around 85 pounds and got a whole new lease on life as a relatively thin, healthy person. And for many people, a health crisis is the only thing that makes them wake up and say that they need to take control and charge of their health. There's a lot of business dinners with excessive alcohol consumption, the tendency towards people wanting to eat fast food at their desk because they're busy working. And I've been saying for a very long time, your health is your most valuable asset always. And it's true because, if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. We can always start another business. But we can't start another body, unfortunately. And so you have to start with the body that you have. And this body really needs to last us in good health throughout our lifetime. And we want to also make sure that it's not just about lifespan, but more importantly, it's health span. And unfortunately, while lifespans may be increasing, health spans are rapidly decreasing. We've got almost a 50% obesity rate right now in the US. We've got more unhealthy people than ever before. That's why I'm doing my radio show and podcast, Make America Healthy, because I believe it's really important to empower people with simple tools that they can use to take back their health, again, physically and mentally. And that means developing strong tools for stress reduction. I believe in the power of meditation, positive affirmations, and keeping yourself in an even keel mentally requires that you're in physical good health, because many foods actually stop our brains from functioning as well as they could. They impair cognitive function, in particular, gluten, sugar, excess alcohol, processed foods. And you want to have a healthy brain to make good decisions, and you want to have a healthy body to support you in your day-to-day activities. So it all works together. And because the mind really does kind of define the body, sometimes we need to change our thought patterns and make them healthier in order for us to achieve good physical health, which again is the cornerstone for everything.
So what have you, I don't know, do you work as a fitness coach too? I know, so you have I know you teach other yoga instructors how to be, to be certified, correct? What's your background?
My
Go ahead.
background is that for 25 years, I've been running the largest yoga mind body school in the world. It's called YogaFit. We have over 150 different educational programs, including corporate wellness programs, where we work with corporations, insurance companies, just to help get their employees healthier again, physically as well as mentally. I myself, work with small groups of entrepreneurs through various organizations where I might go in and present at their retreat. And it's actually my favorite work that I do. I write books. I do my radio show. But my favorite part of my job by far is just educating people on their health and showing them that nothing feels as good as being healthy.
Yeah, I think about some people I know, and they hate exercise. They hate exercise, and they know they should be doing it, but they don't do it. What do you say to someone like that?
Well, I mean, hate exercise is a pretty strong term. I guess you could hate exercise, but you need to love to learn movement,
Uh,
and you need to learn to love to move your body, even if it's go take your dog for a 3 mile walk, or go out with your kids, or take up tennis, or well, golf is not that physically active, but find something that involves movement that you can learn to love, and your body will reward you. I'm very fortunate, Stephen, that I discovered the gym very early in life. I've been working out in the gym since age 15. So fitness has just always been part of my daily repertoire. And it's really become, over the years, like my mental health salvation. And, if everything is going wrong with business and I'm feeling super challenged or anxious, I always just say to myself, well, at least you've got your health. And health is something you can take with you. And, just like I travel a lot for work, and I see a lot of unhealthy people traveling. And even the rigors of travel demand that you have a healthy, fit body. I mean, picking up a heavy carry-on and putting it in the overhead, dragging your bag through the airports, up and down the hills of the airport, it's physically demanding. And having these bodies is really a responsibility. And we are responsible for keeping our bodies as healthy as possible. And I don't believe that anyone can argue that point, because, again, our bodies, left to their own devices, are pretty smart at healing, bouncing back, recalibrating, regenerating. But we need to provide that ultimate and optimal condition for that healing to occur, for that repair to occur, for the basic functioning of the body to be as effortless as possible, whether it's cardiovascular health, digestive health, circulatory health, metabolic health. So, I wrote a book called the Yoga Fit Athlete, and in that book, I say that we're all athletes, and we're in this game called life. And as we've seen in the past couple of years, it really becomes survival of the fittest, no joke. And there's thousands of scientific studies showing that, the more muscle you can add to your body as you get older, the less body fat percentage you have, the more you're going to be avoiding 80% of adult disease, which is self-created by poor choices. So if you think that we can outwit our DNA by participating in activities that are good for us, managing our stress through meditation, other mind-body tools, eating proper food, not overeating, not over drinking, chances are we're going to have that really long health span.
yeah, I'll talk about my routines in a second, just because I know our listeners. I don't get into myself that much, honestly. But I think it's important for this exercise, for this podcast. But before I get there, like what I tell people who don't exercise and maybe they're not happy about that, I say number one thing is you got to find something that you don't mind doing. You have to either like it or love it. So rather, like you said, go for a walk with the dog, or, go for a bike ride, or take up a sport, or, yoga, you know, even if you just start off small by, you know, going for a walk or, going to yoga once a week. I think, yoga, I think the best I've ever felt in my life when I was on a consistent schedule of going to yoga, like 2 to 3 days a week. That now I've always exercised. I mean, right now I do competitive rowing on water, and I've done that for the last 5 years. For 20 years, I played tennis 5 days a week on a competitive level. I took sailing on a small boat, just to be outdoors more, and I hike all the time and do things like that. So what I want to let our listeners know is that the first thing I think about every day or the night before is how am I going to fit my exercise into that day.
I do the same exact thing.
Right. And I look forward to it the most. Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you an example. I did a podcast before this one. Okay. I had my work this morning. I had to, go through my emails and do all the variety of different things I do with my job. I had a podcast, and then I had your podcast, Beth. And right after this, I'm going to go work out. That's how I fit it, because I got something going on at 5 o'clock, actually, between 5 and 6. I'm actually playing tennis, but it's not a competitive thing. I'm teaching somebody just as a favor. And so I know I can't get my fitness in. So I have to get it in the middle of the day, but I'm not going to go through a day. I take one day off a week from exercising. So that's the first thing I learned. And Beth, you say the same thing. We kind of say, hey, where is my bucket for today for exercise? Correct? Is that what you do as well?
Most definitely. I do try to get it in the morning, or I'll work for a while, and then mid-morning I'll take a break and go work out for an hour, or do yoga, or go out for a swim, a walk, whatever. But if we reframe as entrepreneurs and think like, what is the biggest gift that I can give to myself? The totality of who I am. That gift is movement, it's exercise, and it's health. And so, you can say, oh, I hate exercise. But if you turn that around and you're like, I just went to the gym and did 45 minutes of cardio, or I did 55 minutes of weight training, or I took a spin class, you just gave yourself a gift. And you cannot give yourself a better gift than health. You can buy 10 cars, you can buy a big house, you can buy a new business, you can buy stuff. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, you really can't enjoy any of those things. So if we just reframe and look at anything healthy we do as a gift to ourselves, that's where you want to be really putting deposits in the good health bank, because we end up, our body is just a sum of the choices we make. And
and I like that, the way you put that, to reframe. And so I think if someone were to ask me, Steve, why do you exercise? I think you'd be surprised to know that the number one reason is mental health.
Me
For
too,
me,
Stephen.
it's a mental health, right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Getting a great body. And I have only, I'm in my 50s, and my body fat is 16%, 16.2. Sometimes it goes up to 18 or 19. But I've suffered from depression my entire life, horrible PMS, sometimes anxiety, a lot of fear. And the way that I mitigate all of those things is with exercise.
Yeah, I think it's a key ingredient in all those things. And, the second reason is because I like to look fit and feel good. But to reframe it and to bring that back into what you're saying is, I mean, if you're running a business, I would assume that you are reading because you want to know what's going on in the industry. You want to be better at running a company. You're doing that to benefit you. To me, fitness is the exact same thing. Physical fitness. You need to do those things to handle the stresses, to be physically fit, to be able to be at your best. I mean, I look at when I go to work, I look at it as a competitive sport every single day. And as a competitive sport, I need to be at my best. And part of that is getting a good night's sleep, watching my diet, not drinking too much alcohol, of course. Feeling good about myself. So I think the idea that to reframe it, even if you say, I just don't feel like I don't want to exercise. I don't like it. Maybe you just got to do it.
I mean, look, when we're running businesses, and I go through this too, because there's a lot of parts of my job that I really don't like at all. And, you have to do it. You have to pay the bills. You have to, fire an employee, whatever you have to do on a day-to-day basis. We don't have options. So I would challenge people to look at their health the same exact way. Not being healthy is not an option. Your body is a gift. It's a responsibility. And, it's very easy for us to educate ourselves. I mean, really, all you need is YouTube these days. You can learn everything you need to know about intermittent fasting, keto diet or vegetarian diet or carnivore diet, like whatever your thing is. Again, that's why I do my radio show, Make America Healthy, because my goal is to educate people on the different options they have, the new information that's out there, new science, old science, and really how to implement simple tools on a day-to-day basis, not only to look better, but most importantly, to feel better on every level.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I said that I think exercising is really, really important. But the other thing I've learned over a period of time, maybe I'm 57, maybe at 55, I'm sorry, 45, I learned it. You can't out exercise poor eating habits. You just can't do it.
Yeah, my book, Yoga Lean, that was released from Random House in 2014. In that book, I said you can out eat any exercise program. The
Yeah.
first time I ever saw a competitive female bodybuilder in my life, I was in college and I had gone to this kind of grunt and sweat gym on the South Shore of Long Island. And, I was kind of amazed by what I saw. And she looked at me and she said, "Don't forget, diet is 75% of it."
Yeah, it's the thing that I try to focus on the most now, and that's to me eating, not overeating. To me, and eating the right things is harder than exercising.
Oh, most
So,
definitely.
yeah.
We live in a culture and a society where fast food is promoted. In fact, if you turn on, the TV, every commercial is either for, 10 pizzas for $1 or a pill to take care of your high blood pressure, uh, gastric distress, whatever it is. And there are two sides to a bad coin. So we have to educate ourselves and we have to educate our children. I believe that, especially young girls, 14, 15, like I was when I went to the gym for the first time. If you have daughters and you're listening, send them to the gym, get them into exercise. It's not only incredibly empowering for women, but it also builds a lot of self-confidence, strength, and survival skills.
Yeah.
And again, we're living in an extremely Darwinistic world right now, and it truly is not just survival of the fittest, but also survival of the wisest.
Yeah, I don't have. I have two boys, and if I had girls, my oldest son has two black belts, and I would send if I have two older sisters, and so I resonate very well with women, and if I had young girls, I would have them, if they were willing to do it, uh, do some type of martial arts. To be honest with you, I think it's very empowering, and I think women nowadays, it's nice to have some self defense
Yeah,
capabilities.
every woman needs that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question from your experience, because I know you're meeting executives, you're meeting business owners. From your experience, do successful, is there a correlation between successful at business and someone staying physically fit and eating right?
I would say yes, because again, I'm around a lot of different groups of individuals. I've done the Harvard OPM program that required, me spending 3 weeks for 3 years with business owners from all over the world. And I will say that I would say probably 90%, 85 to 90% of them were very physically fit. I did not see a lot of overweight people in my Harvard class. And again, I went to a conference of another organization that I did a program with most recently. I'm not going to name any names, but I offered to teach yoga and meditation at their conference that was held in Washington, D.C. with about 2,500 small business owners from all over the U.S. And I will say that a lot of them were very, very unfit. And then the food that they were serving, open bar, they were serving like pizza and chicken wings and waffles. And I was like, wow, are they trying to kill small business owners?
Yeah.
Because there's no mention at this conference. Again, 2,500 entrepreneurs there who had been through this program. No mention of health at all on the program. And I can't imagine running any type of business conference without having health education. It's funny because a few years ago, I was at a scaling up conference and they brought in Dr. Amen from Amen Clinics to talk about brain scans and brain health. But then when I saw what they were serving for lunch and at the breaks, a lot of gluten, a lot of sugar, and those things are known to create cognitive dysfunction. So a lot of times, I also would love to go into more business conferences and help design the food plans because we need to teach people. Maybe people are so focused on their business, they've forgotten they have a body. And with technology these days, it's really easy for us to forget we even have a body and the problem, Stephen, is this: the body will whisper at us. Most things don't come out of nowhere. So the body whispers. If you're not in tune with your body, which is something that yoga really gives you a leg up on, if you're not in tune with your body and you don't hear the whispers soon will turn into a scream. That scream can be a heart attack. It can be cancer. It can be high blood pressure. It can be a stroke. It can be something that probably could have been prevented if you were in tune with your body, if you were staying hydrated, if you were practicing clean eating. I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting, exercise, obviously, mind-body tools, yoga, meditation. So we have to be in touch with our bodies.
So let's do a combined, because you listed a lot of them. I know we're going to repeat ourselves. Beth, you and I are going to put our heads together and come up with a brainstorm list right now of the best things that you should do, and it won't be in order, both on your experience and both on my experience. We've mentioned a lot of them during the show. So Beth, you go first. Give us one thing that you think that entrepreneurs should do, and we're going to go right down the list if you get my drift, so to speak.
I'm going to start out with at least 45 minutes of vigorous exercise a day.
Yep. And then mine's going to be before you go to bed every night, know what exercising and when you're going to exercise the next day.
Adopting a meditation program for anxiety, depression, and managing your moods.
Yes, and I'm going to add to that your meditation program does not need to be 45 minutes long. It can be 10 minutes, especially to start. You'll get a lot of benefit out of 10 minutes of just sitting by yourself and just, there's a lot of great apps out too if you want to do that. Go ahead, Beth.
I would say developing some type of a mind-body program, some type of yoga, or at least adding at least 10 to 15 minutes of yoga at the end of every workout. so you can balance out your body from repetitive use injuries.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that, and it's going to be the same thing. But I'm going to say that to everybody, if you want to do the best exercise, that's the best for your body, for the mind, that'll have the best amount of benefit in the least amount of time. Do yoga. You're next.
I would say give up gluten and reduce your sugar intake.
Yeah, I was just going to add that that if you're already exercising a lot, maybe you're probably not listening to this podcast, but if you're exercising a lot, that prioritize diet over exercise. Your diet is actually probably a little bit more important than putting in that hour and a half, 2 hours of exercising a day or whatever you're doing.
I would say give intermittent fasting a try. It's truly a game changer and will help you get in touch with the true hunger cues of your body and not just you eating because you think it's mealtime.
If you failed over and over and over again with either diet or exercise, get a coach.
I would say keep an exercise and nutrition journal so you can really find out what you're doing with your body and what you're putting into it.
Get your significant other doing things with you so that you can combine two things: spending time with each other and exercising.
I'm going to say do a ruthless assessment of your current health plan.
I would say, on top of that, agree with you, and that's part of what you're saying. Go see a doctor, get blood tests done, see how you're doing, get an honest assessment from your doctor about how you're doing.
Yeah, I was going to say baseline tests, blood work for sure, and for women because your hormones can change at the drop of a hat, which can have a whole ripple effect that's not good. And then also for people who are suffering from impaired cognitive function, if you can go get a brain scan or an EEG or something so you kind of know what's going on with your brain, that's always a good thing.
Pick up a competitive sport. Pickleball is huge throughout the United States. I just let our listeners know. My niece and my what is he considered? My niece's husband. They are professional pickleball players, and I just went to their wedding, and the whole wedding was with 80 people pickleball. So it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. But pickleball, tennis, golf, if you can do not the drinking, if you can walk the course, that you could still do that. But I do competitive rowing. You'd be surprised how many clubs there are throughout the United States that do a competitive sport. And it's fun.
Yeah, I would say, there are many apps, like you can download the Nextdoor app and you can find people in your neighborhood who might want to walk or exercise with you because having a companion for movement is always a good thing.
I agree with you. I was going to say that too. If you can't afford a coach, look at a companion. I have somebody this winter that I'm going to be, that we're going to kind of, I wouldn't say we're not going to work out together. He's a competitive rower too, but every week or two we're going to kind of meet and talk about how we're doing. We got one last one. Go ahead.
Develop a flexibility program. As we get older, just like a branch gets older, it gets brittle and inflexible. And so by developing a yoga and flexibility program, we are able to become like bamboo, strong and flexible. And that's how we want to age gracefully.
Yeah, my last one is get a subscription to some type of fitness magazine. If it's in your face and if you get Men's Health or Women's Health or something like that, and it's always there and you're staying on top, just like your business, staying on top of trends and stuff like that, it keeps it on top of mind. And I always enjoy when I'm flying on the airplane and I go into the magazine rack. Yes, there are still magazine racks. I don't Really.
Internationally, I think, not nationally.
Yeah, well, you're right. I still enjoy. I see that Men's Fitness magazine, and I kind of pick it
I
up, and
love Men's Fitness.
yeah,
That's a great magazine,
it
even
really
for
is.
women. There's great workouts in there.
Yeah,
I want to add two more. One is that, when you're working out in the gym, go 10% heavier on the weights. You're stronger than you realize you are, and that's where you can see the most gain is if you increase your weight load once you've warmed up properly with a few warm-up sets. And also, please listen to my radio show that lives anywhere podcasts live, and it's called Make America Healthy.
yeah, all good stuff. Like you said, it keeps it in front of you so that you you know how important it is. So it was a great podcast. I'd like to thank so very much Beth Shaw from YogaFit for coming on to today's podcast. And if you like today's podcast, please feel free to share it with a friend, and also subscribe on your favorite podcasting app. Also, if you like today's podcast, please give us a review. If you liked other podcasts, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps the word be spread. And if you're looking for a business line of credit, please call us at 862-207-4118 or visit our website at fscreditline.com. That's FS as in Financing Solutions, creditline.com. Beth, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
They can go to my website, bethshaw.com. They can also find me on Instagram, Beth Shaw Health. I'm on LinkedIn, Beth Shaw Yoga. And I'm on Facebook. And you can also check out YogaFit's offerings and corporate wellness at yogafit.com.
Great. Beth, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's really been a pleasure.
So our takeaway from today, my takeaway from today, it's something that I had already alluded to. The idea is before you think about what you're doing the next day at your job, think about what you're going to do to take good care of yourself. It's the most important of your job. And I think it's really the advice that I give almost after every show is you got to take care of yourself. All right, everybody, have a great day. It was a good podcast. I knew Beth was going to be excellent. And everybody, take care of yourself.